little bit late happens. So here we are. It's the week after Yom Kippur. So I hope that you had a meaningful Yom Kippur. And tonight starts Sukkot. So if you haven't checked them out yet, if you go to the Machar DC channel on YouTube, we've got videos, the Words on Wednesday videos about Sukkot, including a lulav and an etrog and all kinds of other stuff. So you should check those out if you get a chance. But right now, we're going to do our Friday Shabbat stuff. So, since Shabbat is almost always the next Jewish holiday, Sukkot and Shabbat actually start at the same time today. They both start at sundown. So, we're going to get kind of a bonus. And they both start. This time, Sukkot starts right at the full moon. It's going to be a full moon tonight. So that's kind of cool. The middle of every Jewish month is a full moon, pretty much. So Sukkot will be on the full moon. So that's kind of a nice calendar thing. So you can go outside and check out the full moon. So we'll do our Shabbat. We'll do a few songs. I've got a story about Sukkot because Sukkot's the next holiday. And we'll do our little Shabbat setup. And then we'll say Shabbat Shalom to each other. So how should we start Shabbat? Well, we could start with a song that welcomes one another. So maybe what we'll do this time is Hine Ma Tov. We've got a bunch of different Hine Ma Tov versions. So we've got one that's kind of slow and another that's kind of slow and another that's a little more upbeat. For today, so that we kind of feel peppy, because we have both Shabbat and Sukkot happening on the same night, although Sukkot lasts for 8 days, because we have them both happening on the same night, we'll do the upbeat one. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Hine ma tovu mayim, shevet amim tam yachad. 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 Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. And Hine Ma Tov means what it means every week. See how good it is when lots of peoples, different kinds of peoples, dwell together. So I was talking about Sukkot a little bit. What a lot of people don't know about Sukkot, we think a lot of the time that maybe Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur are the most important Jewish holidays, or that Passover is the most important Jewish holiday. It might be. Or that Hanukkah is the most important Jewish holiday, which sometimes we think because it's like right around Christmas, right? Actually, Sukkot probably used to be, if not the most important holiday, tied with Passover for most important. In the Torah, we have descriptions for really 5 holidays. We have descriptions for Passover, Shavuot, which happens 50 days after Passover. We have Sukkot. We have Rosh Hashanah, which isn't really called Rosh Hashanah. And we have Yom Kippur, which isn't exactly called Yom Kippur either. It's called Yom HaKippurim. Rosh Hashanah is called Yom Teruah or something like that, related to blowing the shofar. But only Passover and Sukkot were 7 days long. The other ones are each only a day. Passover and Sukkot are each 7 days long. And there's a big list in the Torah of the sacrifices that people were supposed to bring to the temple for each of those holidays. And Sukkot, by far, had more stuff that people had to bring to the temple, animals and bread and all kinds of other things. It had way more stuff than any of the other holidays. So Sukkot actually was a really, really important holiday in the time of the Bible. So 2,500 years ago, 2,600 years ago, 2,700 years ago, right? A really, really, really long time ago. It's a little bit less important for us now because it doesn't make as much sense to us. Because Sukkot is really about getting the harvest in and getting ready for the rainy season in the land of Israel that helps grow plants. Doesn't make a lot of sense to us when we live in the United States and we live in cities most of the time. I live in a city. You probably live in a city. Most American Jews live in a city. We don't grow our own food. So the rainy season's a little bit less important to us, or at least it's not part of our lives in the same way. And so the idea of Sukkot, where you go out into a booth or like a little kind of a shack with a roof that doesn't really keep out the rain all the way, because that's where people lived when they would bring crops in, that doesn't make a lot of sense to us in quite the way that Hanukkah kind of does, because it happens right around Christmas, or Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur do because we understand New Year's, or Passover because we understand the idea of freedom. We live in the United States, at least ideally, the United States is founded on the idea of freedom. The United States wasn't founded on the idea of, well, you really want it to rain in the fall and the winter, and you really need to grow crops. So it's a little harder for us to put our hands around, to kind of really feel like it's our holiday. But it used to be really one of the two most important Jewish holidays. So it's kind of useful to know that. And because it's so important, or because it was so important, it's kind of stayed important to a lot of Jewish people. So it's good to know that about Sukkot, because that helps explain why we did stuff like build a sukkah or eat in the sukkah or try to figure things out about Sukkot. It used to be really, really, really important. And in places like Israel, it kind of still is. In the United States, it seems a little bit less important. But it's still important, and it still connects us to the environment, and it still connects us to farming and all kinds of other things. So it's good to know about. And actually, I have a Sukkot song, or Sukkot book. I don't have a Sukkot song in my head. There are Sukkot songs, but I don't remember any of them right now. But I do have a Sukkot book. And it's not a very long book, but it is a Sukkot story. And it is called, this is not a very surprising title, I guess. It is called Sukkot is Coming. Yeah, I have it on my iPad. It doesn't look quite as good as if I had it in the big pages, I know. So it's called Sukkot is Coming. And you can see I get emails. Even while I'm trying to talk to you guys, I get emails. So it's called Sukkot is Coming by Tracy Newman, illustrated by Viviana Garofoli. And you can see the kids are in a sukkah, and they're decorating it with different pictures, different little cutouts of fruit and Jewish stars and things like that. So let's see what Sukkot is Coming is about. It says, it's hard to see. Yom Kippur is done. Building time has begun. Sukkot is coming. Lift branches so high, peek up at the sky. Sukkot is coming. So Yom Kippur ends, and then 5 days later, Sukkot begins. So if you're going to build a sukkah, you don't have a lot of time. Most of the time, people don't really start building their sukkah until Yom Kippur is done. And then Sukkot starts 5 days later. So we ended Yom Kippur on Monday night. Friday night's already going to be the beginning of Sukkot. So you don't have a lot of time. So let's talk about all of the stuff in the sukkah. Okay. So a sukkah has to have at least 2.5 walls. And you can see the roof. They're putting leaves on the roof. So the roof of a sukkah is made of something called, in Hebrew, sachach. Sachach and sukkah are related words in Hebrew. In English, they don't seem related, but in Hebrew, it works. So a sukkah is a thing covered with sachach, and he is putting sachach up on the roof of the sukkah. And sachach can be a lot of different things. It can be leaves and branches and twigs and whatever else. And a lot of people buy sachach that's already kind of rolled up, so you can roll it up and use it year after year after year. But they're not doing that. They're putting sachach right on the roof. Hang paper shapes, pears, apples, grapes. Sukkot is coming. And you can see she's hanging some paper grapes. There's an apple. There's a pear. Why do you think you'd want to hang paper fruit or maybe plastic fruit instead of real fruit? Okay, so if you leave fruit out days and days at a time, what happens? It gets rotten. So you don't want to do that. So instead, paper or plastic or paper mache or something like that. Handle etrog with care, wave lulav in the air. Sukkot is coming. So you can see this guy has an etrog and a lulav. And I have a whole video about lulav and etrog with a lulav and an etrog. And I don't have them here with me right now, but you can go watch that video. And the Torah talks about people waving a palm branch, that's a lulav, and fruit of a goodly tree, that's the etrog. And they're talking about being careful with the etrog because the etrog has a little thing on it called the pitam, and if it breaks off, technically it's not a good etrog for Sukkot anymore. So you got to be careful. And that's why it says handle the etrog with care. Chop, measure, and pour, taste and add more. Sukkot is coming. So they're making all kinds of food because people eat in the sukkah a lot of the time during Sukkot. Swing the door open wide. Help bring chairs outside. Sukkot is coming. Well, if you're going to eat in the sukkah, you got to have furniture. So maybe you bring out a table and some chairs. You don't bring out the dining room table, but make a table and folding chairs. Set down the plates. Our dinner awaits. Sukkot is coming. They're eating out in the sukkah. Do you have to eat in the sukkah in the rain? The rabbi said, as long as it's not raining too bad, you should really eat in the sukkah, even if it's a little bit rainy. Guests come bringing dishes, big smiles and warm wishes. Sukkot is coming. And you can see from this picture, there are all kinds of Jews from different parts of the world with different families. That's really important. Jewish people are not just people who look like me. They look like people from all over the world. And there's all kinds of different ways of being Jewish related to where people come from in the world, where their families are from. Down goes the sun. Join hands, everyone. Hooray, Sukkot is here. And you can see they're all ready for Sukkot. And I think they have bagels. I don't know if bagels are an official Sukkot food really, but if you like bagels, you can have bagels. So that was our Sukkot story, just about, what do you do on Sukkot? You decorate a sukkah and you eat outside and you have to build the sukkah a lot of the times. So that's kind of what a lot of people do on Sukkot. So it's good to know that because sometimes when we're meeting in person, we use a sukkah at the school where we meet for JCS. So it's good to know what a sukkah is and how they get put together and why we build them. Because it's important to know. It's still an important holiday for a lot of Jewish people, even if it doesn't always make sense to us. Because we live in the city and maybe it just doesn't make as much sense. It's okay if it doesn't make as much sense. When you cough, remember to cough in your elbow and not cough on everybody, right? We want people to stay healthy. Okay, so we had a song. We had our Sukkot story. I have my Shabbat stuff. But I feel like we need at least one more just real Shabbat song. So we could do a couple of things. Last week, we sang the Good Shabbat song where you put weird things in the pot of water. But the other thing that we might do is we can sing a dinosaur Shabbat song, or we can sing one that we actually haven't sung in a while, which is just the regular old run-of-the-mill Bim Bam Shabbat Shalom song, which I think maybe is worth singing now. Bim bam, bim 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 bam, bim 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 bam, cheery berry berry bim bam, bim 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 bam, bim 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 bam, bim bam, bim 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 bam, bim 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 bam, cheery berry berry bim bam, bim 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 bam, bim 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 bam. Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat 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 shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat 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 shalom, Shabbat 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 Shalom, Shabbat 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 Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat 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 Shalom. Bim bam, bim 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 bam, bim 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 bam, cheery berry berry bim bam, bim 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 bam, bim 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 bam. So that's always a nice way to start Shabbat, is to just say Shabbat Shalom to each other. I don't think there's a Sukkot Shalom, but we could sing it with the same melody probably. Sukkot Shalom. Not that bad. But usually what you say for a Jewish holiday is you don't usually say Sukkot Shalom or Pesach Shalom or something like that. Usually you say Chag Sameach, which means in Hebrew, happy holiday. Or Good Yom Tov, or Gut Yontif. In Yiddish, you sometimes say Gut Yontif, which means happy holiday in Yiddish. So you can say Chag Sameach, you could say Gut Yontif. Either one works. And lots of people say Gut Yontif for Shabbat too. And that makes it kind of easy. You can just say Gut Yontif to everybody all the time. So we have our Shabbat stuff. I have my Shabbat stuff. I even brought the Shabbat dinosaurs, even though we're not singing the dinosaur Shabbat song, because they stay with my Shabbat stuff. See, Shabbat dinosaurs. But we should do our candles and our wine and our bread. And if you've come to these before, you know that actually mine are all made of wood. Wooden candles, see? So the blessing that I usually use for candles is Nivarech et ha'or ba'olam, Nivarech et ha'or ba'adam, Nivarech et ha'or ba'shabbat, and, because we have a holiday, Bayom Tov, Uvayom Tov. So let me say it again. Nivarech et ha'or ba'olam, Nivarech et ha'or ba'adam, Nivarech et ha'or ba'shabbat, Uvayom Tov. Blessed, let us bless the light in the world. Let us bless the light in humanity. Let us bless the light on Shabbat and on the holiday. I don't have any wine in here. It's a wooden bottle. Nothing in the cup. Just air. But if you have grape juice or something like that, you can drink it along as I say the blessing for grape juice or for wine. Nivarech et borei pri hagafen. Let us bless those who create the fruit of the vine. And I have my challah, right? They're made of wood. You know that already. If you've been here before, you know they're just wooden challah. But they look like challah. They even came with an all wooden knife so you can pretend to cut the challah. And for challah, we say, Nivarech et hamotziim lechem min haaretz. Let us bless those who bring forth bread from the earth. And don't eat wooden bread. And don't take any wooden nickels. That's something people who are older say. Don't take any wooden nickels. I don't think I have any nickels right now at all, wooden or otherwise. So those are our Shabbat blessings. And we should sing a song so that we can say goodbye to each other, because it's almost more than 20 minutes now. So you're probably running out of patience and want to go play. And I get that. So let's do one last song. There's a lot of choices that we have for songs, right? A lot of times we sing Od Yavo Shalom at the end. Sometimes we do Na'aseh Shalom. So I think this time, because it is a happy song, we can do Od Yavo Shalom, and then next time, maybe we'll do Na'aseh Shalom. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kulam. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kulam. Salam Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam, salam Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kulam. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kulam. Salam Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam, salam Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kulam. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kulam. And that song means there will yet be peace for us and for the whole world. And then it says peace again in Arabic, salam. The important thing about that is we only get peace if we work for peace. So I hope that you have a Shabbat Shalom, a peaceful and happy Shabbat. And then I hope you remember that our job is to work for peace. And if you want peace, sometimes it takes some hard work. Not enough just to sing the song. Sometimes we've got work to do. Shabbat Shalom.